Hi, welcome to the Protected by Purpose podcast. This is your host, Dorinda Walker. So it is a pleasure to be with the listeners today. And I have the honor and privilege of having a very inspirational guest, Ms. Sharon Levy. And Sharon is a healthy lifestyle influencer, speaker, program director, certified tea consultant, executive TV producer, and TV host. You have a lot of titles.
I sure do.
So we met through our social media connection.
Yes.
And Sharon reached out to me and said, I have a story to tell. And in reading your bio, I saw that we had something in common.
Mm-hmm.
We both grew up having tea with our grandparents,
Okay.
our grandmothers. So tell me about your upbringing and how you came to be Sharon the Tea Lady.
Okay. Well, just growing up, we're from Jamaica, West Indies, and Mom always made tea in the mornings. So we just used to do a lot of tea, and it was just a great time for us to have conversation. And so I just loved that whole experience. And so one day I was actually sitting with my girlfriends over coffee. People hate when I say that, but it's true. And we were just talking about the tea experience, how wonderful it is and how different it is from doing coffee. And so I went home, because my background, let me just step back a bit. I used to work for IBM for about 8 years, but I was in the IT field for about 15 years. And I just always loved entertaining and bringing people together. So I just went home that day and I said, you know what? I think I want to start doing like tea parties. And so while I was working with IBM, I started doing it for my friends, and they loved it. And then I said, you know what? I think this is what I'm going to do. It just so happened that I got laid off from IBM, and I was like, okay, great. Now I can really start doing this full time. And so when I started doing it, then I also saw the need for life skills, and I started doing life skills, including that into the tea parties. And people were loving it so much, I started to sell tea. And then I started doing some research, and then I found, wow, they had this thing, you can get certified for tea. So I ended up doing that, and from then, that's when people started calling me, hey, tea lady, and then my girlfriend and I were like, I don't really like tea lady. That makes me sound old. So we were sitting down over dinner one day and we said, well, what can we think of? And we just switched it around and said, hey, lady tea. I said, oh, that's nice. And so just since then, everybody calls me Lady Tea.
So what does it mean to be a certified tea consultant?
Well, basically, you're just learning everything that you need to know how tea is processed. You're also teaching people the importance of tea time. And so it's not really like a long certification. You just sit through like a whole day or two of learning everything that you need to learn about tea, how it's processed and how it's made, and the different blends and things like that. And then you get certified, and then you just are teaching people about the whole tea experience, how to make tea, what the health benefits of tea is, and that's basically it. I do a lot of workshops around that, teaching people now I'm really implementing spiritual, mental, physical, but it's just more teaching people that you need to take time for self, because if you don't take time for self, then you're going to get ill. There's so much mental illness out there and physical illness out there. So it's just really to teach people to slow down, take a moment to breathe, and just enjoy the moment with each other.
I love that about tea time, because it's definitely relaxing.
It is.
And it puts you in a good mood. I know for me it does.
So
you sent me a before and after picture with the weight loss.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about the impetus behind that weight loss.
For the last probably 10 years, I've been saying, I got to lose like 50 pounds. I got to lose this 50 pounds, and just never lost it. And then September of last year, I went for colonoscopy, and then I found out that I had this big polyp. Now, they didn't take it out the same day, which I thought, how come they didn't take it out? But he said it was very large, and it was in the rectum, and it was just very difficult to come out. The thing that he didn't tell me was that he thought it was cancer. So he had sent me to a specialist to check on it, and after they looked at it, they said, okay, we need to just have surgery. So once we had the surgery, then the diagnosis came back in December that it was cancer. And so when I heard that name, cancer, because we know so many people are diagnosed with cancer, and I was like, wow. I didn't cry, I didn't really get as emotional as I thought I would, but I just knew it was something that was serious. And once I found that out, I just said, you know what, I have to change my lifestyle. I went cold turkey. Actually, I went cold turkey before they took it out, but it just made me more serious about my health once I knew it was cancer. And so I just totally went plant-based, 100%. I always say healthy plant-based, because just because you go plant-based or vegan doesn't mean that you're eating healthy necessarily.
Yeah.
It might be better than other people eating meat and other things, not just meat, but it's just the mindset is a powerful thing. If you don't change that mindset, it's hard to change. So I had to change the mindset, and just going cold turkey, and just really I wasn't eating anything. I wasn't eating any sugar. I wasn't doing any beef, chicken. Not that I did that much before, but I wasn't hardly eating anything, to be honest. I was just eating vegetables, juicing, and fruits. No, there was no cookies and cakes, because I had a real sweet tooth. I always say I was addicted to sugar. I think a lot of us are. But I wasn't eating the sugars. I wasn't eating all the carbs, and literally it just started to drop. Without thinking about the weight, I started thinking about the health. And once I started thinking about the health, the weight just went off like that. So I tell people now, I said, don't worry about the weight. Think about your health.
Right.
And that's really what sparked me to lose that 50 pounds. And also exercising.
Well, you're inspiring me. So I've been very open. I've always struggled with weight issues. And a lot of it is psychological, I believe. And my initial weight gain stemmed from my insecurity, me not wanting to be attractive to men because of issues that I had with men coming up as a teenager. So thank you for sharing your experience. And I'm guessing that I'm hoping and praying that the cancer's in remission, or it's gone.
It's gone.
Good.
Yeah. So they wanted me, after they had the surgery, they wanted me to do chemo and radiation, but I personally didn't want to go that route. And I know it's the non-traditional way is, people are not really going that way, but I just felt like, I don't know if I should say God, had some influence in that, or it's just my belief. I guess because my parents have always been into, like, they have had a health food store. And so I kind of know some of the things that we need to do, but I wasn't doing it. So I just went, totally holistic, and not doing certain things. I'd actually gone away for an 11-day treatment. It's a holistic center called Wildwood in Wildwood, Georgia. And so they did a lot of different treatments, like hydrotherapy, massages, drinking different herbal teas, exercising, which was more walking. We walked after every single meal every day, and just eating that plant-based diet. We were eating 2 meals a day. We learned no snacking. We learned wait 5 hours before you eat again. We learned so many different things, and it was very spiritual as well. Like, they weren't forcing you to do anything spiritual, but they prayed with you, and that's what I loved about the place. They were so prayerful. I felt like I was in a little heaven away, and I told everybody, you need to go there, because you don't have to be a Christian or anything like that. Just go there if you want to learn how to just eat right, and learning about exercise, and just the spiritual thing, and just to relax and de-stress, because we all work so hard.
We do. And it sounds like I need to be making a reservation there.
Yes. No, I recommend it highly.
Yeah.
Highly.
So I was at a conference recently where I spoke. It was Pastor Bam Crawford's the conference is called, and she had a doctor there who showed the benefits of if you just eat strawberries and broccoli, and how it kills the bad cells in your body. And it really inspired me. I want to go vegan, so here, I'm going to tell you my issues. So I like to drink wine. I don't eat sugar. I cut sugar out of my diet a long time ago. So now when I have something that's really sweet, it totally does something to my body. And I don't like chicken so much. I can give up pork, everything except bacon maybe. But I love beef, so that's my thing.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, so I started juicing. I started walking ever since that conference. I was doing yoga. I had just gotten to yoga. But I'm like, I need to probably eat less meat and increase the raw fruits and vegetables. So I'm a work in progress,
Yes,
but I'm getting there.
But every day at a time, I tell people, I said, because it can be overwhelming. And I guess because for me, because it was cancer and cancer really feeds off of sugar, I just don't do any sugar at all. I try to do just fruits. I make like a delicious fruit sundae, I call it. You know, I'll put some nuts and I'll put the different like apples and bananas and some cinnamon and ginger and call it a day. And that satisfies me. It's just funny that all those other things don't really, I'm not longing for it like I used to. You know, before I'm like, oh my gosh, I need something sweet. Like I did an event, a tea event for one of my clients maybe about 2 months ago, and I was in a room in her house that was filled with all the stuff that I would normally eat, and I was so good. I couldn't believe I did not even get enticed. I just had a goal that I have to stay healthy.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm trying. I'm not telling people it's easy, because I mean, there's other things that, you know, I might like certain things and I might overeat it even though it's healthy. So I tell people you have to still be mindful of what you're eating and how much you're eating. So, you know, it's a hard, I shouldn't say it's hard, because anything you say is hard will be hard, but it's not easy all the time,
right?
You know?
And, you know, anything worth doing that is for your own well-being tends not to come easy. So,
right. Yeah.
Right? So tell us about the health benefits of tea.
Well, tea, oh boy, there's some really great benefits. One, it helps to lower the cholesterol. It helps to lower some your blood sugar. And it also helps with weight loss. It helps to relax the mind. It helps some people that have eczema. It helps with that as well. It helps with fluoride. Your teeth makes nice and strong. And, you know, that's about it. It really helps with just so many different health ailments.
Okay, so you come from a diverse corporate background.
Mm-hmm.
I read that in your bio. And you already told us you got laid off, which is what the impetus, I'm assuming, is behind you going into entrepreneurship full time.
Yes.
Tell us about that transition and the pros and cons of that entrepreneurial journey.
Oh boy. Well, I can tell you this. I love being an entrepreneur. I absolutely love it. One, you can control your own destiny. That's the first thing. But the downside of that is it is a lot of work. If you can't get a team of people right away, your life just seems so difficult. And even though I've had my business probably almost 10 years, it's still ups and downs. You know, some years are great, some years are not. And because what I was doing is not, I might think it's a necessity, you know, but it's not something like food or gasoline or clothes or things like that the people need right away. So because it's not a necessity, it's sometimes hard to get people to do it. It might sound good. Oh my God, that sounds great. I want to do it. And then when you're following up, you don't always get people to follow it right away.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the difficult part is, you know, getting those contracts enough to maintain it. Because I've had to take, you know, little jobs here and there to pay the bills. So that's probably the more difficult part of it, as well as finding people that are on the same page and have the same dedication as you do. But the benefit of having your own business, I think, is beautiful. For me, the other beautiful thing is it gave me the time to give back. I love doing community service. And with that, like I mentioned, I was on the board for Rutgers Business School. I was on the board for New Jersey Coalition Against Sexual Assault. I was on the board with Girls Live, Love, Laugh. But then there's other organizations that I would help out and do things like Jersey Cares. You know, I had more time to give back.
Mm-hmm.
When I was working in corporate, it was so difficult for me to do that.
Yeah, the one thing that I like about being an entrepreneur is the flexibility.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes you don't necessarily have as many options as you want because you have to earn money. But yeah, it is a journey. So tell us more about what you offer through your business.
Well, for my business, right now I'm kind of transitioning. I'm still going to be doing some of the workshops that I was doing before. I did a lot of tea wellness. That's what I've been kind of concentrating on. And what's funny is right before this happened, I mean, I was doing, like I said, life skills. I did diversity and culture and the tea wellness. But right before this, I was saying, you know, I really want to do more things with wellness and health. And then that's when this happened to me, and I'm like, oh, no, maybe I'm on the right track. So I really want to just offer more, not just the tea wellness, but I also want to do something where I'm teaching people the importance of putting themselves first, making sure that they take care of the mind, the body, and the spirit, because it can't be just one or the other. It has to be all three. Some people work out and they look good, but inside they're not well. I didn't feel sick. Even though I might have been overweight, I still didn't feel sick.
Mm-hmm.
So it really doesn't matter what you look like on the outside. It's really taking care of the mind, the body, and the spirit. So I want to do something that's going to entail all of that. So I'm kind of not right now just researching and just trying to get a gist of really what I'm going to offer besides the tea wellness. But I'm kind of in the transition at this moment.
Okay, that sounds good. So I get asked to find speakers and to, get people to speak and do workshops at a whole bunch of events.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us what that experience would be like if someone who was listening, said,
Mm-hmm.
hey, I think I want to have Lady T come in and do this wellness experience.
Okay. So the first thing, what sets me apart from other people that might be doing something similar is that I bring in all of the china, and it's always eclectic. I like to lay out the china and then have people select what they want. Like I'll say to them, hey, select something that fits your personality for the day. And people love it. They get a kick out of it. Oh my God, look at this china. And, what are you feeling like today? Because for me, every day I use a different china. It might be floral today, it might be black and white tomorrow. And I think people just love that experience. So I bring all the china with me, and I get people, everything that I do, it's always interactive, because I personally don't like when I go somewhere to an event or a workshop that it's just that person talking. So I like people to be very interactive in whatever it is that we're doing. So like one of the workshops, we do the tea blending as well. So I bring like 3 to 5 different teas and they'll taste it. But then I also bring in different ingredients, like it could be dried fruits, it could be different types of teas, and they're going to blend it together. They're going to name it, seal it, and take it home. But with that, they're learning again how to brew the perfect cup. They're going to learn the health benefits of tea. They're going to learn the importance of tea time. And that's like one of the workshops that we're doing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give you some advice. You should offer that up to corporations for their employees.
Yes.
Because, a lot of employers now are really focused on health and wellness.
Yes.
And making sure that they get the most productivity from their employees.
Exactly.
And I think this would be a great workshop to offer in corporate America.
Yes, I've done it for a few.
Yeah.
But I'm really trying to get a lot more. Just letting them know, because the productivity is really going to be impacted in a good way. Because once people learn to take it down a notch, during the work hours, it does help them to be more productive. So, that's kind of the path I'm on now, to really get corporations doing that.
So I want to congratulate you on being recognized for your entrepreneurial skills in the 2018 SCORE and Sam's Club Small Business Championship.
Yeah.
You were one of 102 entrepreneurs selected out of 1,100 across the nation, and one of 3 from New Jersey.
Yes.
So kudos to you.
Thank you.
So how did that all come about?
Oh man, that was so exciting. I had a friend, actually, you might know Kim, the jam lady.
Yes.
Yes, that's my girl.
You know what, Kim, so I have to tell you this story. So Kim Osterhout, I was in a job in corporate America. We both work for the same company, but I happened to be in a job, low associate at the time. Hated it, and because it didn't align to my value system. So I applied for a job in life insurance marketing with no marketing experience, and Kim Osterhout interviewed me.
Wow.
And when I finished the interview, because we hit it off instantly, I got to the elevator and I said to my husband, I got that job.
Wow.
And I did.
Wow.
And so my career really skyrocketed from there. So I have to give a big shout out to Kim Osterhout for that. Yes.
She is my girl. We've been knowing each other since I started doing this whole entrepreneurship thing. We've done a lot of vending together. Matter of fact, I use her teas at my tea. Her teas. I use her jams at my tea parties, and people love it. So basically, she had entered a couple years ago, and then I think it was last year. I said, let me just enter. My girlfriend had sent some information to myself and another girl, and then all 3 of us entered, and then 2 of us actually won. So it was really nice to have a good friend win with you. We ended up being on the plane, going together,
Oh, wow.
and I was like, that doesn't happen. You know, 3 of the people in New Jersey, and 1 is your really good friend.
Yeah.
So that was really exciting.
That's awesome.
Very exciting.
Where can people contact you, follow you?
Okay. Well, they can just go to my website at www.takingteainstyle, and that's all one word. And you can also, I'm in Princeton, New Jersey, but I do travel. I've traveled all the way to Long Island. I've traveled all the way to Maryland. Like I said, I bring absolutely everything. If we're doing a tea party, we're bringing all the sandwiches, the desserts, the tea. We set up, we serve, we clean up, we bring all the tiered trays and everything. So you have the guest, we do the rest.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I do have one question. Some teas have caffeine.
Mm-hmm.
And what are the benefits of introducing tea to children, at a young age? And is it okay for them to have tea with caffeine, or should they just drink non-caffeinated?
Well, I would say that it's best for kids to do the non-caffeinated, like the herbal teas, because even for adults, like I'm really at this point now that I've gone through this whole cancer thing, I am trying not to even do caffeine as much as possible, because caffeine over time is not good for you. So I would definitely recommend like a herbal tea for the kids.
What was the impetus behind you going to get the exam? Did you know you had that tumor?
Okay, so no, so all right, this is, I would say about a year before that, I was experiencing like very, and I'm going to say tiny because it really was tiny bleeding. And I procrastinated in a sense, one, because I didn't have insurance at the time, so I was like, I can't afford it. The second part was my father had hemorrhoids, and I kind of, how we kind of diagnose ourselves, and I said, oh, maybe it's just hemorrhoids. But by the third time, I said, maybe it's something else. So then I went and got the check, and that's when they found it. So
yeah, it's good that you went.
Yeah,
yes.
It was very good that I went.
Because a lot of times we procrastinate, or we think we can self-diagnose ourselves.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm glad you went. So I think that would be the advice to anybody. If something doesn't feel right or something's not normal, go get it checked out.
Exactly. There's no waiting around. And self-diagnosis is not the best. I mean, it's good to be knowledgeable so that you can have, questions for your doctors, but you definitely don't want to self-diagnose.
Yeah, that's really important.
Yeah, very important.
So where do you see Lady T 10 years from now?
Wow. Lady T, I want to be all over the country helping people to live a healthier lifestyle. Going out and speaking and just helping people to get their minds, their spirit, and their bodies right. Yeah.
And tell us about your TV show.
So the TV show I've had, it's called Conversations with Lady T. And initially when I started, I was bringing entrepreneurs to come on to talk about their journey, because I know a lot of times we're working alone, and so you need other people to hear their stories so it can encourage you. But I also want, it wasn't just for entrepreneurs, it's for anyone who has a dream. They can hear what we're doing, and then they can say, oh, well maybe I can take on this dream and do it. But also because I love doing the community, I also brought on nonprofit organizations to talk about what they're doing, because I think a lot of times some people don't know that they can go out there and help out. So I wanted to encourage people to go out there and help. So the difference now, what I'm doing is I'm more concentrating on health and wellness. So I'm bringing on experts, I'm bringing on different people to just talk about their journey so that other people can be encouraged that even if you get a chronic diagnosis, doesn't mean it's a life sentence, especially if it's like cancer. Because so many people, whether they go for chemo or they go the holistic way, they're still surviving. And so I want people to come on now and just to talk about that and just to help, for us to help each other to just be better. And I think that's what it is. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
The BET Awards was on Sunday, the 2019 BET Awards, and Tyler Perry made this speech. And one thing that resonated with me, it was at the end, he said, for all the dreamers here, make sure you own your stuff, because there are people who are depending on you to fulfill the dream.
Yeah.
And I thought that was so powerful. It actually inspired me.
Yes.
Because I was on vacation with my family.
Right.
And the next day when I got home, I was working. Because people are depending on me.
It's true.
Yeah. So, I applaud you for pursuing your dreams and giving other people the opportunity to share their dreams and what they're working on. That is, not everybody has that gift.
Yeah. Well, I always like to say I love people. We're all not perfect, but I think when you can help someone else and pull them up, I think that's the best thing for me. I would rather pull someone up and just see their smile and just see that they're happy, and that's really what Lady T is about.
Yeah, that's good. I want to go back to the entrepreneurship thing. So you were downsized from corporate America, but if you had to do it, if you could do it over again, and you had the opportunity to prepare for the shift, would you have done anything differently?
What I would have done differently is to make sure I secure a team in place, because that's one of the biggest things I've struggled with, is to get a team in place. So that's where I would have put my money, is getting that team.
Okay. I hear a lot of people say, especially in corporate America, I want to leave, I want to do this thing that I have a passion for, but there's a fear in not having that steady biweekly paycheck, and what if it doesn't go right? So you overcame that fear.
Yes.
In a big way, right?
Yeah.
And so what advice would you give to people who are like in between and don't know whether they should take that leap?
Well, the first thing I'm going to say to them is definitely do their research. You have to research what it is that you do to find out if it is a hobby or if it's something that is sustainable. But you just have to do it. And I think if you can, or have family members or friends that can help you out financially, there's so many other cultures that they put the money together. And I know sometimes in our culture, it doesn't happen as easy, but I think if you can get some people to come in with you financially, or if you can save or pay off some bills and have that extra money, that's also a good way to do it. Or, just get something part-time and, just live your dream.
I always tell people, look at corporate America like your investor. So take as much as you can, because they're investing in you, they're helping you learn and grow. But at the same time, you need to be doing what you need to do to save and invest.
Right.
So when I left corporate America, I was fortunate because I'm not good. If you said, Dorinda, you have to save $10 every week, and I had to physically do it myself, it wouldn't be
right.
But everything that could be taken out of my check for an investment, mutual fund, stock, whatever it was, I let them take it out, and I always did the max. And when it was time for me to retire, I'm like, oh, wait a minute, I got money. And so I always tell people, use that corporate experience, get as much as you can out of it, anything they're offering you in terms of professional development, but make sure you save. And if you're like me and you won't physically do it, just have them take everything out, right? Work with a financial planner or advisor and just have everything taken out, and you won't miss it because you don't see it.
Right,
and
exactly.
That's what happened to me. And when I retired and I saw all my accounts, I'm like, oh, this is good. Like it's funding my dream.
Right.
So thank you, corporate America.
Yes. Yeah. I was lucky when I worked at IBM. We had the 401k, I had the stock, so I used a lot of that when I left, to help fund the business as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. So in the Sharon Levy path of life, give us 3 life lessons that you want to share.
Well, definitely, as I mentioned, the procrastination. Do not procrastinate, not just with your health, with anything, because procrastination is the worst. It's just the worst thing for anyone. That's the first thing. Second thing is put yourself first. You have to. If you don't put yourself, and especially your health, nothing else matters. I don't care how rich you are, how much wealth you've built. You don't really have wealth unless you have health.
Yeah.
And the third thing for me is to say God first. God has to be in everything. God can't be a part-time thought. He has to be the first, the middle, and the last. And my sister said that to me probably over 15 years ago when I first got married. She said the same exact thing. And of course I was like, really? God first, middle, and last? And I thought she was a little over the top. But now I'm seeing that is really the key in life, is to have God first.
You know what? I'm such a fan of what you just said, your 3 life lessons. When I go out and share my Protected by Purpose story, I talk about my young self, Duke. And Duke was, out of control, drug dealer, low self-esteem, headed to a path to prison or death. She was very self-confident, but she had no relationship with a higher power, right? And so the definition of confidence is having a belief in something or someone bigger than you, right? And if if you're a believer, you know that the word says, trust in me with all of your heart and don't rely on your own understanding.
Right.
So self-confidence is actually an oxymoron, because confidence without faith
Right.
will land you where I was, in a
Mhm.
mental institution or in some dark, bad place.
Mm.
So I wanted to share that as my little story to
Mm.
complement what you said, because I'm a
Yes.
strong believer, put God first.
Yes.
And I also, people hear me say this all the time, but I'm a strong believer. If God puts a vision in your head, He's
Mhm.
showing you what you're capable
Yes.
of, right? And so it's up to you to put in the work with
Mhm.
fortitude to fulfill the dream. And when you do, it will be much bigger and better than you ever imagined
It will.
if you rely on your faith.
Yes.
Yes.
Amen.
So it has been an absolute pleasure having you.
Yes, thank you so much. It's an honor for me to be sitting here talking to you, because I mean, like I said, I've been following you. I met you a couple of times when we had the thing. I think you had the thing at Prudential.
Mm-hmm.
I think last year in Newark, and it's just following your journey. It's just been so motivating for me to see, where you are after everything that you've been through, and so I admire you for that.
Thank you so much. And that's definitely part of my purpose, is to share my story, to encourage people, and that's the reason why I do the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you think you're going through something that's insurmountable, look at my story
Yeah.
and know that you can make it through.
Yes.
And so I appreciate you being on the show. For all the listeners out there, please be sure to follow Newark Ironbound Film and Television Studios, the Newark International Film Festival that's coming to the city in September. And I wish you all a good night.